Hey everybody, welcome to part 23 of building the R2-D2 from Fanhome. Now in this video we're going to be covering stages 87, 88, 89, and 90. So we are getting closer and closer to the end of this build, which is fantastic. So here we go. This is going to be some frame for R2's head. There's more framework on the inside. It's like a little triangular shaped kind of thing. This here, oh, that's the big bottom. That's the big bottom panel of R2's body right there. That's really cool. And that little cutout is for where you can access the batteries. There's like another little section in here. Really tiny screwdriver right there. Let's see, these are going to be, we're going to start working on the middle leg, which is very cool. You can kind of see the shell of it right there. That's one side of it. And those are the little piston-like things, or capacitors. And then this is the other side of the middle foot right here. Wow, that's really cool. I never thought I'd ever get to this stage. That's really cool. All right, so let's get started on this. Here's the magazine for issue 87. The big build-up. Looks like a little model there for some interiors. Looks like they're still working on the prequels here. More stuff about R2, the beloved R2. Oh, there we go. There's 3PO. Footage from the original movie. Very cool. Robotics at Stanford. Oh, yeah. Stanford, I'm sure they have a lot of stuff going on with there. All right, so dome support frame. This is going to be one of those real simple steps, and quite frankly, I think this parts pack is going to be the last simple one that we have, because I think from here on out it's going to get more difficult, mainly because we have to do a lot of wiring on the next parts pack. But here you can see it's kind of like this triangular shaped frame that's going to go on the inside of R2's head, and that's going to be like where the head will turn, the little spindle that goes in there. So this is going to be a real quick one and a real easy one. Here are the parts that we get for stage 87. So now we got all these metal parts. This is this little frame that's going to fit inside of R2-D2's dome. So we get 3 of these. This one's slightly different. It's got this little thing that's sticking up. These ones don't. And then we also have a bearing and also this little metal, I don't know what you call it, like a little holder. So let's get started on those. Okay, so we'll start with this piece now. So we're going to take this middle section here. We have to have it facing this way. See these little pins? They match up into these holes, and you got to make sure that this piece has the writing facing this way. So those pins right here will match up into this hole or these holes. Then we're going to flip this over. Now the screws we're using on this stage doesn't come with screws, so I had to go through my my pack of screws, and we had a whole bunch of these. These are 2.5 by 4 millimeter screws, and there's a whole bunch of these, and considering we're going to use 12 of these for this part of the build, I'm guessing it's these ones that we're going to use. So let's go ahead and do this. Okay, and then we'll put 3 more right in there. Okay, so those are all in place right there. So the next one is the next flat piece that doesn't have that part sticking out, and this goes on here on this way. Once again, making sure the writing is upward. So we'll put 4 more screws right in there. Okay, so that is all in place. So now we'll flip this over. Now this is the piece that's got that little thing that's sticking up, and it goes this way. Once again, the lettering facing the same way as these. And then we'll just flip this over and then put 4 more screws right in there. Alright, so that is all in place now. Alright, so we'll flip this over, and we have this bearing. So that's got to go in this center hole here. So just kind of push it in place. Maybe. There we go. Just like that. And then we got this thing here that holds it in place. So just line up the holes. So once again, utter guesswork here. So these are 2 by 4 millimeter screws. They're really pretty small, as you can see here, and they were left over from the last parts pack. So I'm guessing that it's these. They're smaller than the ones I just did. So let me get this. See if I can get this lined up here just right. Okay, yeah, it looks like they're fitting. Let's see if I can move this up a little bit more so we can see it better. There we go. So yeah, it looks, these fit, so, and there's no slop, so I think that's got to be it. Alright, so one more goes in that hole, and I'll show you what it looks like when that's all finished. Alright, so there it is in place now. So that's all there was to this stage. There really wasn't much to do. So we're on to the next one. Here's the magazine for issue 88. Shooting in digital. Technology got better for movies and such. Like I said, I don't really read these magazines all that much. But I do like this kind of stuff. Robots in retail. Yeah. There's more and more of that. These things are really cool, these food delivery robots. I would love to. They're kind of cute. I think they're really neat. Those are really awesome. Okay, so base panels and electronics. So, yeah, we're going to be working on R2's bottom, the bottom part of his body right here. So this is really cool. It's kind of like a big round piece, and you got this flap that's going to be able to, it's got like a flexible piece where you can get inside to the battery pack. So yeah, you can see all this going on. It looks like there's not that much to do because you're just putting a switch in, and that's probably where you plug in the charging cable. But yeah, that's cool that we're at least that far along on his body. Here are the parts that we get for stage 88. So this is the bottom panel for R2-D2. This is a big piece. So that's that neat little design that he always has on the front there. And then this piece here is like the access panel for getting the batteries. So the batteries will be accessed through this part. And let's see, we have this piece here. This is a flexible thing. It's made to go on here so that you can get this thing open when you need to. We got a power switch here, and this looks like the recharging port. And there's some kind of a little, I'm not sure what that is, a really tiny screwdriver. That's really cool. These always come in handy for different things. And thankfully we got some more screws too, so that should make this easier. Alright, so we're going to start with these parts now. So this piece here, you'll see this little lug sticking up. So you're going to take this flexible piece, and this is going to go on here. Now the idea behind this is that it can slide. So when you open the panel to get it to R2-D2's batteries, which I'm guessing you probably won't have to do very often, but at least they have a way to get to it, this can bend so you can get in there. So they're calling this thing the top hat washer because it does look like a top hat. It's pretty cool. So that goes on here like that. And they're going to take one of these flanged screws. These are 2 by 4 millimeter flanged screws. I'm going to put it right in there. Try to get it in there straight if I can. There we go. And it says not to make it too tight because you want this to be able to slide. So that's that. Next we're going to bring in the big panel right here. We're going to line up these 2 holes right here with these 2 holes on that flexible piece. So you can see how that's going to fit in there. And you see how those holes match up? So we take another one of these flanged screws and just kind of get it in there. Just like this. Okay, and then we put another one on that side. Okay, so there it is all together. So now you can see how this slides out like this. And then it'll bend down so that you can get to the batteries. There's going to be like a battery tray that slides out. So that's how that works. Very cool. Okay, so next we're going to put the power jack in here. Now you'll notice how it's rounded on one side here, but it's squared off on this side. So you can't mess this up, thankfully. The hole is matched to the shape of this. So you're going to match up the screw holes here. Just push this all the way to where it goes. Let me see. So that's how it's going to be kind of flush on this side here. Alright, so let me make sure that that's all the way down. And then we're going to take the 1.7 by, what is it, 6 millimeter screws. These come with this stage, so at least you're not doing guesswork as to which screw you're supposed to be using, which is always good. Okay, I wish they would just give you the screws that you're going to use for each stage. with those stages. It would sure make it a lot easier. That way, like I've mentioned, we're not guessing at all of this stuff. Alright, so we're going to do another one on this side, so I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so that's all in place now. So next we're going to do the power switch here. So we're going to flip this over, so this goes from this side, and it says to make sure that the switch is in this position, the little eye. So you're going to, and this part has got to go closest to the edge over here. So let's go ahead and feed this wire through like this, and see if I can get this in here. There we go. Alright, and then there's like these little clips right here. See them on the end right there? So this just pushes in. It doesn't screw in. It just snaps in. So it's just, oh, well, good. That just went right in perfect. So yeah, there we go. You can see how those things are clipped all the way in on the sides right there. Nice. Yeah, I like when stuff goes in nice and easy. Okay, so next we're going to take this access panel and we're going to screw in these longer interesting screws. You'll notice how they got the threads just on the end right there. So these are 2.5 by 9 millimeter screws. And we're just going to screw them into these right here. And it says that once the thread goes through, this should just kind of just go through, I'm guessing. Let's see what it does. Oh yeah, see, just like that, it pops into place. So where's the other one? I got the other one right here. Now the purpose of these is if you need to get into the battery compartment, that's how you do it. You're going to unscrew these. So they're specially made for just that. Just like that. And then in the future, when you are ready to take those out to get to the batteries, that's where you're going to use that special little screwdriver that they give you. This really nice one. It's got a super tiny head on there. And that's how you're going to access those. Alright, well that's it for stage 88. Here's the magazine for issue 89. A Rhapsody in Blue. There he is. The Emperor, Mr. Palpatine. It's a cool picture of R2 right there. Be interesting to know how many of those were made for all the movies. I'm sure there's quite a few. I think in the newer movies they actually used some R2s from the R2-D2 Builders Club, which is pretty cool. I bet that was quite an honor for one of the builders to have their R2 in there. Oh, that's neat. Look at that robot right there. That's awesome. Okay, so center foot and leg details. So yes, we're finally going to start working on R2's center foot. I can't believe we're that far along now, but it's pretty cool. You know, I mean, we're getting down to the wire here. So it looks like this is going to be similar to the outer feet, where it had that kind of capacitor thing that's kind of attached to the side. And we're only going to do one side of it in this issue here. So, alright, well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started on that. Here are the parts that we get for stage 89. So we're going to be working on R2's middle foot, which is really cool. So that's one half of the shell. Very nice looking piece there. There's some kind of a metal support in here. I'm not sure we're going to be using this just yet. We may have to wait till the next parts pack to actually use that. So I think it's one of those pieces that they send to you before you actually need it. Here's some silver things. I think those go on the front and back of R2's foot. And then these are very similar. All these pieces are very similar to when we were first starting this whole thing out. If you have been following this whole series, where we were building those little, I don't know, I call them capacitors that are on the side of R2's leg. They go right here. So let's go ahead and start building that. Okay, so this is a relatively easy assembly. So you start with this piece, and we go on this side, and you'll notice these notches right here. So those will come into play here in just a second. So first we put the ring on, and then this piece here, the little cap. Now see these little things sticking up right there? Those go into those notches. Just like this. Just line it up like that, and then you're just going to take a, let's see, what size screw are we using this time? 2.3 by 6 millimeter. Okay, so that's what one of these are. This also came with this parts pack, thankfully. You'll see there's a hole. Can you see that hole in there? So that's where that screw goes. Okay, let me see if I can do this. I'm not sure I can keep it on camera and keep it straight as well. Alright. And then that just kind of stays together like that. Okay, so then we're going to do the exact same thing for this side. So we put the ring on, we put this on with the little lugs, and then once again the 2.3 by 6 millimeter screw. Put that on here, and put this in as well. Just kind of have to hold everything together until you can get it all screwed in there. Okay, let me see if we get it. Alright, so there we go. So these two pieces are all finished. Okay, so now we're going to take this middle piece, and you'll notice this little notch cut out right there. So that's going to match up with this top notch that you see there. So we're just going to put that in there like this. And then the same thing for this one. Top notch goes on this little section here. So that's what that looks like complete. So now we bring in the foot, this side of the foot. Now you'll notice the way this is right here, it matches up. So you got the two screw holes, and then you got these two little lugs that will fit in these parts right here. So let's get those lined up like this. See if I can get those in. Oh, perfect. And that's what holds this whole thing together. So back here, you're going to take another 2.3 by 6 millimeter screw and put that right in here. Like that. Okay, and then we'll do one more on that side. Okay, so that is now in place. These parts, they just look so good. I love it. Alright, so that's all there is for stage 89. Here's the magazine for issue 90. Filming on location. So more stuff with the prequels here. Some behind the scenes stuff. They went back to the original location that they filmed the first one. That's an actual hotel that you can stay at, which is really cool, where they filmed the original Star Wars and part of the prequel there. You can live at Luke Skywalker's homestead on vacation. It's pretty neat. More stuff about these two guys. Very nice. Lab robotics. Alright. Okay, so yes, we're going to start working on the other side of the center foot. It looks like it's going to be pretty much the same thing we just did, but it's just going to be the other side. I kind of wish we could finish the middle foot in this parts pack, but that's going to happen on the next one. And there's going to be a couple pieces that we're not going to use, including that piece right over here, this thing. That's like a little switch that's on the front of R2's foot, so that when he bumps into things, it's like the old bump and go robots that we used to play with. It's kind of what that is. So it's very cool. Alright, well, guess we'll get ahead and get started on this as well. Here are the parts that we get for stage 90. So this is pretty much identical to what we just did. So we got the other half of the foot now. So the other side right there. The same things to make that little piston capacitor thingy for that foot section. Now this is different here. This piece is going to eventually go on the front of R2's foot. It's going to go up here. You can see that little notch cut out right here for this. And I'm not sure how it's going to fit. But what this is there's this piece of wire. And we'll see this in the next stage, I think, but it's going to go through this hole, and it's going to be on this little hinge. So when R2-D2 bumps into something, you know, it's going to be a switch. I think there's one or two switches back here. And it's kind of like the old bump and go toys that we had, where it bumps into a wall and then it turns around and goes the other direction. I think that's what this is going to be like. So that'll be cool. So I guess we'll go and get started on all of that. Okay, so just like the last time, we're going to take this piece, this ring, this part, match up those lugs, then we screw the screw in. Same one, the 2.3 by 6 millimeter, I believe, is what this is. You know, I will mention that I was short a screw in this parts pack, these 2.3 by 6 millimeter ones. So thankfully I have an extra one. I had to go into my old screw, what do you call it, like tackle box or whatever, and find another one. So yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't give me the ones that I needed, or as many as I needed. So putting this other one together now, and we will screw this together just the same with that hole that's down in there. Okay. And then make sure we're holding everything together here. Alright, so there we go. So this one and this one. And then once again, this is going to go on here. You'll match up that center lug right there. So it goes on this way. Let's see. Oh, it's this way. Alright, so this way. And then this way. And, oh yeah, that's right, this way. And then I will bring in the foot and we'll put that on the foot. Okay, so we'll put this back on the same way we did for the other foot. Matching up the lugs and the holes just like that. Flip this over. And another 2.3 by 6 millimeter screw to put this in. Okay, and then we'll do one more on that side. And there it is, all complete. That's very cool. So eventually we will be able to put these two pieces together to make R2's middle foot. Look at that, that's really cool. These slots here are for these silver bits that are going to go on here on the front and back. And then we have that little spot here also for the sensor. See, it's going to go up here. Okay, so it's going to probably fit like this somehow. Oh yeah, it's going to go just like that. And it's going to be on some kind of a pivot or hinge, I'm guessing. That little pin. That's going to be the little bump and go action. So that's very cool. Okay, so now at this point in the build, I should probably talk about the batteries that you're going to need for R2-D2. He uses some unusual batteries. So they are 18650 batteries. That's the number for them. They're button top, and I'll show you what I mean about that. They're unprotected, 2600 to 2800 milliamps, and 3.7 volts. So these used to be kind of hard to find, but I found that you can kind of find them at a lot more places now. I think even Amazon might have these. You're going to need 6. So I ordered mine from Ultra Fire Batteries. Ultra Fire Batteries. But this is what they look like. Let me take one out of here. So they're kind of large. They look like a AA or AA battery, but they're not. They're bigger. See, so this is what they look like. They're very unusual. So, I mean, you can see how much bigger they are. So this is from Ultra Fire. You can see the name brand right there. And it's got this flat bottom, and this is what they mean by button top. It's got to have that button sticking out on the top right there. Now these are wrapped with plastic. I'll take these off when I'm ready to use them. But you need that button top because when they fit inside the battery pack of R2-D2, if you get the ones that are flat top, they're not going to fit. They're not going to fit right. It needs that few little bit of a stump right there to fit properly. And then, let's see, what else? Unprotected. So you need the unprotected batteries. Now that's important also. So some batteries have protection circuits in it to keep them from blowing up if they overcharge. These don't have that, and the reason they don't is because the battery pack that R2-D2 comes with has the protection built into it. So if you have a protected battery in a protected battery compartment, I think they like cancel each other out. They're not going to work. So you got to make sure you get the unprotected type. So this is what they look like. So once again, I got these from Ultra Fire Batteries, but you can look around, and you know, when I emailed them because they have several 18650 batteries, and I emailed them. I said, look, I need these for the D'Agostini R2-D2, and I'm not sure which one to get. And the very nice lady emailed me a link right to the ones I needed. And so you're going to need about 6 of them, and they're about $10 a piece. They're not cheap, so you're going to spend about $60 just on the batteries. So I will say that the fact that this R2 doesn't come with batteries is kind of a bummer, considering how expensive this thing is. I think it's going to be about $1,600 when you're done building this R2-D2. So the least they could have done is provide the batteries, but you know, and the other thing is, why do they use such weird batteries? Why couldn't they have used something a little more easily, obtained? But like I said, I think these are easier to find now. I just hope these work because I bought these at least a year ago in anticipation for when I was going to need them. And then I had that horrible 6-month delay between April of 2022 and August of 2022. It was almost like 6 months long. So these have been sitting here for more than a year, like a year and a half possibly. So I hope these work. I hope these work. They've been sitting here a long time. So, but anyway, those are the batteries that you're going to need, and hopefully you can find them, and hopefully you can get them a little bit cheaper than I did. Okay, well that completes stages 87, 88, 89, and 90. Oh wow, this is crazy. We're down to the last 10 stages of this build. There's only 3 more deliveries for this, and then that's it. I'll be finally finished with it. We'll be finishing up the the middle foot on the next parts pack. We'll be able to get the bottom piece, and there's a caster that goes in this wheel. This is not a motorized one, so that way R2 can kind of turn on a dime. With a caster on there, we'll be able to finish using these pieces. And so the main stage that I'm going to be concerned about is the, let's see, Parts Pack 25. The second to the last one, that's when we're going to hook up all those wires. That's going to be a tricky one to film, having to reach down in there. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. I guess we'll find out when I get to that point. But yes, there's only 3 more deliveries of parts left, so we're almost done with this guy. Alright, well anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I very much appreciate it, and I will see you on the next video, whatever that may be. And so thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you then. So have a good one!